For your safety and optimal installation of your Stroud Safety Fire Suppression System, please review the following. Safety pins on valve head and release cable must always be in place when installing the system and when not racing. Fire bottle should never be mounted upside down or with the valve head pointed or angled at the front of the vehicle. Never use hose clamps to mount the fire bottle. Do not expose the bottle to direct sunlight or ambient temperatures above 130 degrees Fahrenheit for an extended period of time. All tubing connections must be single flared. Use a tubing bender for all tubing bends. In multi-bottle applications, each bottle must connect to its own set of tubing and nozzles. Regularly inspect the entire system and make sure lines and cables are not crimped or damaged. Periodically disconnect tubing at the valve head and blow out with compressed air to ensure that lines and nozzles are not obstructed with foreign material. For additional instructions and diagrams, refer to our Fire Suppression Systems installation instructions. It is available on our website at stroudsafety.com on the Fire Suppression page. The Stroud Safety Fire Suppression System Kit includes a 5 or 10 pound charged fire bottle, a pull head assembly with safety pin, 1 6-port and 2 2-port nozzles, 8 sets of tubing ferrules and nuts, a T-connector fitting, a fire bottle mount with 2 stainless steel T-clamps, an 8-foot long pull cable, the safety pin for the pull cable, and 12.5 feet of steel tubing. The label on your fire bottle is an important source of information about your system. The label includes an SFI approved sticker, the original date that the fire bottle was filled, and the weight of the filled bottle without the pull head. When a bottle has been recertified and refilled by us, there will also be a yellow sticker indicating that date. Note that the bottle is filled with the SFI-approved, non-toxic Fe36 gas agent. The stamping on the bottle indicates the date of manufacture. In this example, March of 2017. This indicates that this bottle can be used for 6 years from this date. The bottle gauge only indicates pressure. The needle position anywhere in the green is optimal. Sometimes, if the bottle is stored in extreme hot or cold environments, the needle may move into the red areas. Place the bottle in a normal temperature environment for 2 or 3 days to see if the needle returns to the green zone before contacting us. Begin your installation by first determining the location of the fire bottles or bottles in your vehicle. We recommend inside the roll cage or other reinforced location so the bottle assembly will not be damaged in an accident. Allow for plenty of clearance to install the valve heads, tubing connections, and release cables. The pull handle on the pull cable needs to be within easy reach of the driver, with the handle brackets securely mounted to a rigid surface. Make sure the pull head on the bottle can be easily reached with the pull cable as directly as possible. Longer pull cables are available if needed for your application. If pull cable needs to curve, make sure cable action is not bound and slides freely. The best position for the bottle in all types of vehicles is with the bottle mounted low in the chassis, parallel to the ground, and perpendicular to the chassis axis. The bottle may also be mounted parallel to the ground, in line with the chassis axis, with the pull head pointing to the rear of the vehicle. A bottle mounted vertically is satisfactory. However, the system may not function properly if the vehicle is upside down after an accident. In any case, always make sure the valve head end of the bottle is level with or above the bottom of the bottle. Never mount the bottle with the valve head facing or angled to the front of the vehicle or pointing down. This example shows 2 bottles mounted in the vehicle. Note that the bottles need to be positioned for easy access with the labels facing outward for inspection. Secure bottles to the fire bottle mounts with supplied stainless steel T-clamps or optional billet clamps as shown here. Never use hose clamps to attach bottles to the fire bottle mounts. To install the valve head on the fire bottle, first remove the safety cap from the top of the bottle. Inspect the bottle opening to make sure it is clean, free of debris, and the O-ring seal is in place. Make sure that the bottle threads and the threads inside the pull head are clean. Ensure that the head safety pin is securely in place. Lightly lubricate the threads to prevent galling. Finger tighten the head. Be sure the valve body seats firmly against the O-ring on the adapter. Then hold the bottle nut with one wrench while using another wrench to tighten the pull head. Caution: do not over-tighten. Tighten only until the pull head contacts the bottle nut. When removing the pull head from the bottle for servicing, first make sure the safety pin is in place. Hold the bottle nut with one wrench while using second wrench to loosen the head. Be sure to put the red safety cap back on the bottle before shipping or storing to keep the bottle opening clean. Our heads come equipped with 2 exit ports. We recommend using both ports and 2 lines to more efficiently and quickly disperse the fire suppressing agent. If only one port is used, the suppressing agent will take twice as long to disperse. A common practice is to run one line to the engine bay and one line to the driver's compartment. Every application is different. Plan the routing of your tubing to protect from impact and for optimal location of the spray nozzles. As suggested, one line from each bottle is for the engine bay and the other is for the driver. Please call us if you have any questions about the routing of the tubing and location of the spray nozzles for your application. In this example, the 4 lines from the bottles exit through the firewall. The 2 lines for the driver go back through the firewall in the footwell area. Each line has a 6-port nozzle at an upward angle positioned as close to the firewall as practical. This position near the feet is optimal as most fires originate from the engine bay and airflow is from front to back. It is also recommended with a 2-bottle system that if fire breaks out, you first pull one release cable and then the second cable if you need more time to exit the vehicle. In the engine bay, the other 2 lines are routed towards the front of the bay. Using T-fittings, each line is split into 2 lines for a total of 4 2-port spray nozzles. Because the airflow is from front to back, each pair of nozzles are positioned low and at the front on opposite sides of the engine. Note that the nozzles in the engine bay should be parallel or angled downward. This helps prevent debris from settling in the port openings. The 2 ports on each nozzle should face inward in proximity of the engine exhaust headers. After you determine the lengths of tubing for your installation, use a tubing cutter to cut the tubing. Make sure the length of your tubing allows for bends and curves. Position the cutter on the tubing and gradually tighten the cutting wheel as you rotate the cutter around the tubing. Continue to rotate and tighten until tubing is cut all the way through. Use the reaming tool on the cutter to clean up the inside of the hole. Make sure the end of the tubing is free of burrs and not crimped so that nut and ferrule will slide on easily. Before flaring the ends of your tubing, slide on the nut with the threaded opening facing the end of the tubing. Then slide on the ferrule with the large end facing the end of the tubing. Some liquid soap or light spray lubricant on the tubing will help the ferrule slide on. After the nut and ferrule is installed, use a flaring tool to flare the tube end. Be sure to use a 1/4 inch flaring tool, or in this case the 1/4 inch hole on this tool. Secure the tubing as shown. Then position and gently tighten the flaring tool until the tube end is flared. If the tubing splits, you will need to cut off the damaged end and start over. To help prevent splitting, position the tube end closer to the opening on the holding tool. Single flare only is shown. Do not double flare. This end is now ready to fasten to a nozzle, an angle, or T-fitting. Bend the tubing using a 1/4 inch bending tool. Position tubing in the tool as shown and gradually squeeze the handles to bend the tubing to the radius needed. For larger curves, work the tool along the length of the tubing while gently applying pressure to the handles. Bending the tubing by hand or any other method will damage the tubing. To attach a fitting to the tubing, slide the ferrule to the flare on the tubing. Position the taper end of the fitting against the tubing flare and ferrule opening. Slide the nut to the threads on the fitting and begin tightening, ensuring that the fitting is seated in the flared opening. Use of Teflon tape on the fitting threads is recommended. Notice on the pull head that there is a side hex screw and a top hex screw. By loosening the side hex screw, the top of the pull head can be rotated to facilitate smooth operation of the cables and prevent binding. This allows you to rotate the top to a position that best accommodates the release cable. Once that position is determined, tighten the hex screw to secure the top head position. The hex screw on top of the head is for securing the housing of the pull cable in the head. Before installing the pull cable in the head, deburr and smooth the cable end. Install the pull cable by first loosening the hex screw on top of the head. Make sure the safety pin remains in position. Push the cable through the larger hole in the head as shown until the cable housing seats in the hole. Warning: if the cable, after deburring and smoothing the end, will not slide easily through the hole in the pull head, do not force it. Call us immediately. We may need to replace your pull head assembly. After the cable housing seats in the hole, gently tighten the top hex screw to secure the cable housing in the head. Do not over-tighten. It is easy to crush the housing and the cable will not release properly. Trim the cable to leave at least a ½ inch to 1 inch of exposed cable on the opposite side of the head. Deburr and smooth cable end after trimming. The system is armed when the safety pin is removed. Always reinstall the head safety pin and pull handle safety pin when not racing. They should both be in place when working on the car at the track or garage and during transportation. The safety pin on the pull cable handle will also prevent accidental discharge of the system. As with the head pin, the pull handle pin should only be removed prior to racing. Both safety pins should always be in place when working on the car at the track or garage and during transportation. This completes our presentation of the installation procedure for the Stroud Safety Fire Suppression System. Please call us if you have any questions about the installation or operation of your system. Your satisfaction and safety is very important to us. Be sure to visit our website to see all the products and equipment available and the latest news from Stroud Safety.